Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a bit shorter than the last one due to the tier being shorter and less info heavy, as well as my laptop playing up in the last week, and I'm going to the Animal Crossing event at Sea Life the Saturday that this will be uploaded. So I hope you still enjoy it just as much, but if you haven't already, please go watch episode 1. I made a playlist which will be linked below in the description where this will be posted. And this time in VR Chat's update, they have put it so that I can motion track with the camera. Now I've turned the eyes off because I wear glasses and it doesn't really like it. It sort of like flickers the eyes around and it doesn't really like it. So the eyes are off for now, the arms are off for now. But as you can see, the avatar is actually moving, so I can properly be a VTuber now. So join us as we dive into Tier 1 of the Smiler Iceberg. The Sanctuary. The Sanctuary was a scare maze located inside the towers that ran during the Scarefest of 2012, 2013 and 2014. It opened on the 13th of October 2012 and closed on the 2nd of November 2014. Following the 2011 Scarefest season, the Hamble twins who had inhabited the Boiler House for 3 years had finally been caught, closing the Boiler House maze. With the black hole tent being removed for the Smiler, the west wing of the towers was used for the new maze. In August 2012, the maze was revealed with information about it slowly being dropped, also letting guests know that it would be linked to the then unnamed Smiler and would introduce an important concept connected to the lore of the ride, such as correction and the Ministry of Joy. The Ministry of Joy had recently reopened their facility to conduct new experiments before the opening of their ultimate device, the Smiler. The maze would start in the conservatory where the director of the ministry, Professor Sheriff, would talk about what the ministry do before introducing Dr. Kalman, the Chief of Medicine, and explain that they provide social compliance treatment. A nurse would then batch advocates and lead them into the maze. The advocates would then meet Dr. Kalman, who gave details on the treatments that the ministry do and also mentioned the controversies that they were shut down in the past. Advocates would witness some of the treatments taking place in the sanctuary, with them first encountering a patient watching a strange and incoherent video on TV, which would then explode, leaving him distressed. In the kitchen, menacing staff members would watch over boiling pots and pans before leading advocates into the wards. It was revealed that the ministry had been waiting for you, waiting to correct you through their normalization techniques. They would then try to brainwash you with bright lights, strong smells and a splash of water before leading you into the basement, where advocates would find an operating theatre and the morgue. Advocates would be separated into a cage maze before they could finally exit the sanctuary. With the success of the sanctuary, when the Smiler's opening was delayed, it was opened at the start of the 2013 season until the Smiler finally opened in May with 3 entry. It would open again for the 2013 and 2014 Scarefest seasons before closing for the Haunting of Molly Crow, Terror of the Towers and Subspecies The Endgames to open. Miles Cedars. Miles Cedars is a character featured in the Smile Always miniseries made to promote the Smiler. He is the author of a book named Smile Always, which Trisha and Dan came to interview him about. In the tapes found by Trisha and Dan, his correction by Dr. Kalman can be seen, however he is only halfway corrected. At the end of the series, he is seen telling Dan that Trisha has been corrected, presumably being responsible for correcting her. He likely corrected Dan after the series. His name is an anagram of Sacred Smile. Correction. Correction is what the ministry aim to do to people through the sanctuary and the Smiler. The ministry believes that society has a disease and that smiling is the only cure, as said by Miles Cedars. They correct people through the normalization process, the Smiler, and make people smile forever. Pizza. In 2013, Goodfellas, a pizza company, teamed up with Alton Towers to produce a Smiler-themed pizza. They were sold in most supermarkets and on the Corkscrew Plaza via a vending machine. I remember this along with the ad with my first encounter with the Smiler, seeing the boxes in store and my mum buying the pizzas with promotional Smiler packaging on them. The specific Smiler pizza was cheese and jalapeno. Music key changed to represent correction. The main theme and the shop theme are in different keys. The main theme in the ride area is a minor key, making it seem eerie and slightly off with strange mechanical and fairground-like sound effects and instruments, while also being joyful. After you have ridden the Smiler, the music changes to a major key in the exit and shop, with more bouncy, silly sound effects, making it seem clearer and happier. This represents that you have been corrected. Oblivion. Oblivion is the world's first vertical drop roller coaster and the first B&M dive coaster. It opened in 1998. Oblivion and Smiler share the X Sector area. The area previously known as Fantasy World was rethemed into X Sector, a secret government facility, in 1998 when Oblivion opened, and the black hole tent was repainted into a darker colour scheme to fit the area. With the opening of the Smiler, Oblivion's lore was tweaked to fit the Smiler, with Oblivion now being another experiment by the Ministry of Joy, and the Ministry of Joy being the owners of the secret government facility. Weirdly, a line said in the Oblivion video still state that hypnosis is not available at Alton Towers, despite the Smiler providing hypnosis as part of the normalisation process. Delayed opening. The Smiler was to open with the park in March 2013, however, due to snow, construction was unable to be completed on time and it was pushed back to May 23rd. On May 17th, in the preview event, riders became stranded on the lift hill and Alton Towers announced that the Smiler would again not be opening on the set date. Finally, the Smiler opened on May 31st, 2013 at midday with no prior announcement. Paint rollers. When you next drop your bag off before boarding the Smiler, look above you. 2 paint rollers are stuck to the ceiling with incomplete stripes. This is an Easter egg to represent the delayed opening of the Smiler. Incorrectly placed footer. During construction, a concrete footer made to hold the supports was placed in the wrong spot. You can see it in the first half of the ride placed next to the correct one, so keep an eye out when you next ride. The second Smiler room. There used to be 2 Smiler rooms in the Alton Towers Hotel. The second was transformed into another themed room, which I believe is the Princess Room. I think personally they should have kept the 2 rooms due to the Smiler room being so in demand and popular. Sealed host door. In the Heartline Roll area there's a high up door with no steps to access it. This is a door that leads into the baggage area of the ride. It was sealed and had the steps removed due to ride hosts accidentally opening the door and ended up in the ride area. The door was previously used for access for evacuation. You can still see it covered by a filing cabinet in the baggage room. Cosplay. Lots of Smiler fans cosplay, whether it be on park or not, their OCs or the uniform. From humans to fursuits, there are lots of Smiler inspired cosplays out there. I usually cosplay the uniform on park myself. It also seems to have inspired people to cosplay other rides too, with people now cosplaying rides such as Oblivion, Toxicator and Nemesis Reborn, and I've seen people at other parks cosplaying the rides too, such as Hyperia. This phenomenon seems to have started with a Smiler. Some, such as myself and Beauty of the Base and Persistatronic, have our own Smiler-inspired fursuits, all of our own takes on the Smiler-inspired creatures, with mine being a Sonic the Hedgehog-styled advocate rabbit. Although unlike Sonic characters, she has beams which are rainbow-coloured to represent the rainbow stairs. Cosplaying Smiler has introduced me to the wider cosplay community, with me now having cosplayed Madoka, Ghost Sky and Ai Hoshino at Scarefest, with plans to cosplay Kyo Kyun and Vampire this year, and I think this is also the case for a lot of other Smiler cosplayers. A lot of us cosplay the uniform on park to show we are smiling advocates. Useless glass panel. In the Smiler shop near the door there's a spotted glass panel. This was supposed to allow people to be able to see the ride go underneath the shop, as when it dispatches it goes down underneath the building and comes out underneath the station facing the opposite way to the way it dispatches. However, the panel was installed backwards and it's also too dark in there, meaning it's basically impossible to see into it. I've actually laid on the panel and could see movement, but it still wasn't very clear even with my face pressed right up against the glass. Advocates. Smiling advocates are people corrected by the Ministry of Joy. They are eternally happy now they've been corrected. In the park during events like the Festival of Thrills events, they are depicted as wearing the Smiler uniform, suggesting that the staff are higher up advocates made to correct more people. This seems to be one of the reasons people cosplay the uniform, to depict themselves as smiling advocates in the canon way and to feel solidarity with the ride and staff. Some fans, including me, call ourselves smiling advocates, as we are them since we have been on the ride. Sometimes advocates are depicted with smiles cut into their faces through prosthetic makeup, with this being the case for advocates attending the Smiler preview event in 2013's entertainment, and a more subtle version of this makeup was seen during the 2022 Festival of Thrills, though the makeup wasn't used in the Smiler takeover in 2023. Some advocates have been depicted wearing other outfits, although the park version uses the uniform. In the beginning of Smile Always, advocates can be seen in civilian clothes, and in the sanctuary they were depicted in patient clothing. Once Trisha was corrected, she was depicted in patient clothing. The Smiler uniform is used on Park to depict advocates as it makes the tie to the ride more clear. As of the Smiler takeover, the actual staff uniform shirts aren't used for the costumes. Instead, a version very similar to the staff uniform is used, where the logo is yellow and white, with the staff version being only white. One advocate can be seen wearing a black and white striped shirt and another has a yellow vest, just to make a few different. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. This one's a shorter one due to the tiers being shorter and not as info heavy as the others. Tier 3 should be out in around 2 weeks if my computer behaves itself, and it should be longer too, with more research heavy topics in it as well. Be sure to follow me on my socials for more of me, the link's in the description down below. I hope you like the new format with the new VR chat update, allowing me to use my webcam for tracking, although it's bouncing around a minute because I had a bit of trouble setting it up. It wasn't detecting my camera. I've turned off the arms and the eyes because the arms aren't necessary and they're quite janky, and the eyes, it doesn't really like it because I wear glasses and otherwise I wouldn't be able to see my script. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more from me, and if you got to the end of the video, tell me what was the funniest memory you had in the theme park. I'm going to start doing these prompts now at the end of each video to try and introduce conversation among the community. And remember, you belong to the Smiler. Smile always.